Good day, everybody, and welcome to another Phprunner tips and tricks tutorial. In this tutorial, I will show you some advanced features that I applied to the Lookup wizard. Now, this example comes straight from Sergey Kornilov, who has explained this entire process to us during one of his Dev Club tutorials. I am not sharing the entire Dev Club. I'm just going to share this part of the code or functionality that I think can be very handy for many people out there. First of all, you will see what you're looking at is the page, and the web page is set up in an order details configuration, which is something we are all used to. This is quite easy to do, so this is my orders page, and underneath each order, I am able to actually load order details. So by clicking on orders, I'm going to select the first one, and here it says we do have 3 detail records, and the last one here is still, I started this product. The idea is to prevent the user from selecting Steel Stout for a second time for this specific order, either ID for this specific order, ID 10261. Let's see how it works. If I go and I click on Add New under all the details and I'm looking for that Steel Stout, just see if I can find it. Quick, I still start. I do get a sweet alert to pop up. This product is already part of the order. Choose another one. Now, besides the actual sweet alert to pop up that you see on the screen, there are some other things that also happened. Not only did I get the message that I can't load it for a second time, it's already there. The product ID I selected is now completely empty again, and the Save button for this screen, the Add New screen, is disabled. If I cancel here or close it or whatever and I try again, my Save button should be active again, and I can try and select another product. Let me show you in the code what I have done to make this work. Okay, here I opened up the project. You can see I'm running at the time of this recording. Phprunner version 11.2, built 44238. That is the build I'm running on right now, so there will probably be more releases later on. But this is now. Just during the recording of this particular tutorial, you can see that I have a simple order and all the details configuration, like everything, which is not complicated at all. If you have any questions regarding this, please do not hesitate to ask. I will answer those questions in the YouTube chat window. If it's too much for me to answer any questions there, I can simply make another recording or tutorial to show how it works. I'm going to click Next. I just want to show you this normal tables. Nothing straight, nothing out of the ordinary over here. And I'm going to end up eventually at the Let's Go Straight to the Designer page now. On the Designer page of the Detail page, the product ID is the fields. In this case, obviously it will be different for every project, but in this case, the product ID is what the user selects. When you double-click on a project ID and you select the Edit tab over here, because that's what they do, you can see that we actually set up already the product table that will show up in a drop-down select way for the user, which you've already seen. There, we have field events right over here, and this is where I have coded the functionality, so we can obviously just click Edit or Modify over here, and you will be able to see your client before event, your server event, and your client after event, which I will explain just now. However, I find it easier to go to the actual events page and see the same code over there, just a little bit more space for me. It's a personal thing. Don't make this a rule. It's just how I like to operate the system, but this is quite handy if you have to do something quick. In this case, there is nothing wrong with coding everything you need to code right here. It's fine. Also remember that the client before and the client after are actually JavaScript, and the server event is PHP. We all know that, and all of these events, client before, server, and client after event, need to be treated as a single event. It's just easier for us to break it up into 3, but these are not standalone. The one is dependent on the other. That's why you can't really output anything on your server event. You will get errors when you do that. Okay, that was just a quick side note, so instead of me digressing, let's continue. I'm going to click OK over here, and I will straight go to my events section of this project. Lower down, we will see field events, and this is my event. I only have one event in this project, and this is the same code you looked at just now. First of all, we use this .getValue function, which is kind of standard. You can use it in Phprunner. This is JavaScript, obviously, and we set it into a parameter, which is going to go to the server event eventually. We need a second parameter to go through to the server event, and that is the actual order ID. Now, to get the order ID, we use something called the control.getValue. For that, on the field order ID, I just created the control here on line 3. From there, I use control.getValue, and that will store the value in the order ID parameter, which is a field name or a value I decided to use. We have two values, Palm's order ID and Palm's selected value, that will go through to the server event once they are populated on the server event, because we are actually getting information from the user where the user makes a selection. It's always a good idea to get into the habit of using Prepare SQL from the database API. Now, the Prepare SQL is just going to take the SQL values and make everything secure for us so that we prevent the possibility of a SQL injection. Here, I do a normal SQL query to select the account from the order details table where the order ID in this :1 is parameter 1 and my product ID. These are real fields in my database table, obviously, because else it will not work. There is my parameter 2. This :2 now and then a comma, and this is just the syntax for the Prepare SQL function, and then my Palm's order ID and my Palm selected value exactly as I declared them in the client before event. The only difference now is that we are running it. It was first declared using JavaScript. We are now on the server event. In server event, everything is PHP in this case, and that's why the $sign is in front of the actual parameters. Any questions regarding that? Please just don't hesitate to ask. We're then going to execute the SQL, which is now clean when it gets to that point over there. And so we're just going to say count equals db lookup and with the SQL variable. Now everything will be cleaned out and secure, and no SQL injection is possible at this point in time. This is very important because especially we are accepting values or input from the user. From here, we set this into a result, and the count value that we actually determined over here will now go to the results. And the result is another array count, but we set this up in PHP. Finally, we will go over to the client after event. In the client after event, we can now execute the count again with the result count, but this time without a $, because we are now again in JavaScript. Now this is straightforward code. Okay, so in a nutshell, what is happening right now is that if the count compares to 0, we are going to remove the class disabled, which means the save button will be available to click. Else, if that value was not compared or did not compare to 0, we are going to reset the value the user selected, and we are going to add a class disabled to the button so that they can't click save. Now the rest of the code from line 11 is simply my swal.fire, which is the suite alert 2. I am testing this. This is my template. I like to use this template because it works in so many different places, including JavaScript onload events, where I can just simply change something small and it will work. For instance, to confirm a button aerial label can be a thumbs up. Okay, that is something that we can change. And also, there is the ability to play with HTML all over the place. I like to keep the dot then with the if result is confirmed, and the else if result is denied always intact in my example, because sometimes it depends on which button is clicked. I can then decide which page I want to go and reload or redirect to anything like that. This is my sample. Now, for those of you who are members, you can become a channel member for as little as $1 per month. You will be able to download this project as it is with some data in the database, and you will be able to copy/paste the code and play around with the project as you wish. Remember, this is version 11.2, so you will need version 11.2 or later to play with this project. That is basically from me. Any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. Until next time, goodbye.